There is a providential dimension, Ralph, to our coming together. uh, I some of the research that family members have been doing on our family. I want to call my legacy not the Virgil Wood legacy. It's Alexander, the Alexander Wood legacy, which is the name of my grandfather, who was born the year who died the year I was born, 1931. And he was born in 1880. So he was about 55 years old or so, somewhere in there. Died from black lung disease in the coal mines of West Virginia. But during his 55 years, he had created a 40-acre farm at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountain in Virginia, 12 miles from Charlottesville. It was on his farm, then my daddy's farm, that I grew up. And it was on that farm that I learned a lot of the things I've learned. So I like to think of myself as Thomas Jefferson thought of himself when he was an old man. He said, "I'm an old man, but a young farmer." And as something else to mention about Thomas Jefferson, as smart as he was, and as advantaged and privileged as he was by having free slave labor, all that he did, he died in foreclosure, broke. Well, my granddaddy, when he died in 55, had left a farm. The house that I grew up in was a house that was bought from Sears Roebuck catalog, prefab, bought, placed on the land, and built right beside the church that nurtured me, across from the little school that nurtured me, six grades, one room, one teacher, Hillsborough Elementary School. It was a Julius Rosenwald school. Julius Rosenwald was a Jewish philanthropist. In fact, he reminds me some of Bloomberg, who helped to build over 6,000 schools in slave settlements across the South. And I think those became the feeders for the HBCUs. And that's a history that we do well to resurrect, and to remember that it was the genius of Booker T. Washington, who has been snubbed by certain communities in the Black world. But his legacy is a university that is thriving, 6,000 elementary schools across the South, in which people like myself were nurtured. And if that school did not exist, I would not be who I am. I would not be in a position to do what I think I can still do and what I've already done. But Ralph, what's so providential about it is to hear your story and your grandfather helping to power the ship. And here you and I are powering a different kind of ship. And the ship was called the
Titanic.
The Titanic. Yeah. He wasn't dancing on the Titanic. He was trying to help save the Titanic. There were people who were frolicking on the Titanic, but there were other people who were doing their best to prevent the crash. And I just, it just sends chills up and down my back to think about. Coincidence, maybe something else.
Does your school still exist in the community?
The building is still there. It's being refurbished again for some kind of community center. And
is your farm still there? Is it still part of the family?
It's been gentrified. It's been gentrified. The house I grew up in, I wouldn't recognize it today. But before it was gentrified, after my brother went off to war, my sister finished college, and I finished college, our tuition was paid for the university. Every penny of our tuition was paid by my father raising extra hogs, so that when tuition time came around, the check was always in the bursar's office 2 weeks before it was due. My father raised extra hogs on that land. But what happened after that, he parceled it out so that two of his siblings, could have a landstead of their own. And that's what happened. And I'm hoping there's still some of it there, and I want to go back now and extend the graveyard of the church, which is run out of land on which to bury our dead. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some land that I'm familiar with that they may not know about, still within that thing. And so anyway, I got to give back now to the place that gave me my springboard.
While we're still talking, we haven't talked about the picture in the background.
Yes, thank you. There is a 10-acre settlement, a 10-acre plot of land here in Galveston County. This is where we get our Juneteenth Jubilee. And a 10-acre plot of ground and a house in which a Confederate soldier used to live, or at least a Confederate soldier built after the war. And he had an orchard of pear trees, and later it became an orchard of oak trees. Part of it is now has about 30 giant oak trees, some 200 years old. These trees are going to be named for some of our ancestors. It's going to be felt as a place that families can come for fun and spiritual renewal, a kind of a spiritual Disney World. Interestingly, this is deep woods. Dr. Wyatt Walker, among his scholarly research and writings, is a book called Spirits That Dwell in Deep Woods. And in these deep woods, people will be able to come and gather at the tree that is most relevant to their family around that tree, and turn on the app on their phone and share a song that goes with that particular legacy. These are legacies, and what I like to call them, the Daddy King, Beloved America, Manifest Destiny. That's going to be the central tree. It's Daddy King, which includes moderns as well. There are others as well. And again, I would have people go back to our website, belovedcommunityinitiative.com, and they'll get an introduction to what we're talking about, and we'll be able to share more very soon.